For today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about dealing with stress and anxiety. Stress and anxiety are kind of things that I feel like my clients and people and friends that I know around me deal with on a daily basis. And really any type of negative emotion like stress and anxiety or guilt are all symptoms of living outside of the present moment. And so what that means is not focusing on here and now. So a lot of times stress is worrying about something in the future, anxiety as well. Sometimes it can be related to work or school or whatever it is that we're dealing with in our normal lives. But either way, we're not focusing on what's right here and now. And so that's when we start to have that buildup of emotion in our body. And stress and anxiety is really toxic to the body. It can make you sick. It can create a lot of different harmful experiences in the body that are unnecessary. So there's a few different ways that you can relieve yourself from stress and anxiety, and here's some of my advice on what I do. So for starters, I for sure check in with my breath, especially like in a psychedelic experience. You start to get all these emotions really quickly. You might have to deal with it at a very fast pace, and it's, you have to really connect with your breath and not only just like notice the breath, but slow it down. And when we become more aware of our breath, it's kind of hard for us to have thoughts outside of our breathing, even though our body breathes automatically. When we use conscious breath, that is being present, that is being here and in the moment. A lot of reason why we have like anxiety is we're so worried about what other people are going to think, and if we did something right or if we said something wrong. And honestly, like we think that everyone's really thinking about us all the time, but in reality they're mostly thinking about themselves and their own experience. So just being mindful that people don't think about us or judge us, or we don't come into people's thought patterns as often as we think that we do. And so when you really focus on that and you can work more on what makes you happy, that's what's going to help you strive, rather than stressing and worrying if everyone else is judging you or if they see the best in you. Because honestly, if someone's judging you, then it doesn't really matter what their opinion is anyway, because you don't really want that kind of negativity in your life. Now, I'm sure you've heard this before, but meditating every single day, even if it's just for a short time. When I first started getting into meditation, I just couldn't. Like, I would sit there and close my eyes and just try, but like all these racing thoughts would come. But it's when those thoughts start to pop up, you have to not create a story around them. So if you start thinking like, oh, I'm kind of hungry, you don't want to start thinking, oh, what am I going to make for dinner? I need to go shopping. It's just like this trail of thoughts that follows it. So as soon as a thought pops up, you want to try and like just let it go. So like observe the thoughts, listen, hear them, because they're going to happen, and don't like get down on yourself because they do. It's normal to think. You're a human. So getting into that meditative state is really focusing on the breath. And in the beginning, a lot of what helped me was mantras. So whether that was Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, which is like, it's kind of, Om is like the universal vibration. That's a symbol that's everywhere behind me. It's kind of the connectedness, the interconnectedness of all living things. When you say Om and when you chant it, it's measured at a specific frequency. So when that vibration is measured, it's the same frequency that our heartbeat makes, that the world makes on its rotation, and that all living things hold. And so that's where the Om comes from. And Shanti, Shanti, Shanti is a Sanskrit word for peace. And so for me, when I say Om Shanti, 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 I'm inviting that peace into my heart. And you say it over and over and over again. And in the beginning, you're like, oh, where's this going? Then all of a sudden you've said it so many times, you can fully relax. And so using mantras to meditate is great. And then also, if you keep checking your phone to see how long it's been or whatever, set a timer, whether that's even if it's just for 5 minutes, it's still going to help you become more present, more relaxed, and, start your day right or end the day right. And then eventually you start feeling like, oh, I want to go for 10, I want to go for 15, I want to go for 30, an hour, etc. The next thing that really helps me was yoga, because yoga is like a moving meditation. Every single movement kind of connects with the breath. We're connecting with our body and we're focusing on the body. And so you kind of escape the mind. And so then by the end, your body's exhausted and you can get into savasana, that relaxing meditation at the end, and really connect with your higher self and get that relaxed state that you need. And just a short amount of meditation can match in what you would get in a full night's sleep. So if you have a hectic schedule and you are on the go all the time, take time out of your day. Maybe it's right when you first get somewhere in your car, you can stop for a second and kind of just close the eyes and just breathe. Any little kind of meditation is good, whether that's, walking outside and just being really present and really aware of all of the outside world. That is a meditation as well. It doesn't always have to be with your eyes closed. If anxiety and stress come up when you start to go to sleep at night, maybe do something that's kind of gonna settle the mind down more. A lot of times people will be using their phone and stuff, and that bright light isn't helping with the melatonin. You want to be in the dark when you're ready for bed. And if you can't sleep, try reading. If you don't have any books, I would highly suggest getting The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This book really helped me kind of figure out my mind and understand how to kind of get into the present moment in every single second of every day. Obviously, it's a practice, and I'm not saying that I'm present at all times and completely zen, but it's helped me kind of get to where I need to be. So when those racing thoughts start to creep up, you can even kind of listen to them from an outside perspective and give yourself advice like you would a friend. Now, sometimes that can be overwhelming and you might not know what to do in a situation, but just listening to your thoughts from an outside perspective and realizing that they're not necessarily you. A lot of the times it's your ego or your surroundings or kind of ideas that have been put into your brain by an outside source rather than your own thoughts. Another way to really deal with anxiety is to kind of accept it for where it is, and that might seem silly because obviously you're trying to get away from anxiety, but if you're constantly stressing yourself out because you are anxious or because you do have racing thoughts or whatever, you're kind of adding to the problems. Rather than judging your own anxiety, come to where you are, accept whatever it is that you need to accept, and then move forward, whether that means getting yourself into that relaxed state of mind with meditation or some of the other things I'm going to list off, but not dwelling on the fact that you're anxious. Anxiety is kind of something that's more in the Western world. You don't really hear about, people in the Amazon dealing with anxiety. It's just the Western world that we live in. So kind of just knowing that it's not you, it's not who you are, is going to help you kind of get away from it. Another thing that's great for anxiety is meditation music, and you can look up just on either YouTube or Spotify, just type in meditation music and put it on, and then just close your eyes and relax on your bed for however long you need to until you start to feel more at peace. And if you have a hard time closing your eyes, just keep them open and focus on a point in front of you, whether it's you're seated or if you're laying down up on the ceiling, and just really focusing on your breath while doing that is going to help you get into that relaxed state of mind. And sometimes anxiety isn't always caused by you, but it can be caused by your diet. So cutting out things like if you drink a lot of coffee, that's speeding up your heart rate, and so you might be experiencing anxiety when you don't have to. It's a process, and I'm not saying like caffeine is bad, but sometimes if you're having too much, or maybe you need to take a break from it just to kind of get yourself back on track. And another thing to cut out would be sugar. If you have a really high sugar intake in your diet, then that can be creating a lot more anxiety as well. And the last thing that could be adding to your anxiety is alcohol. And alcohol, even though it relaxes you in the moment, the way that you feel the next day can cause anxiety because your body has to work so hard to kind of release all the toxins that you ingested, all the poison from the alcohol. So maybe cutting out alcohol from like an every night, if you do it like every night or something like that, and seeing how you feel. And also eating foods. So we're taking out things, but we also want to replace our diet with foods that hold a very high vibration. So things that give us energy, like whole foods. A vegan diet obviously would be really great for that, because a lot of times, we eat meat, and, I'm not here to tell you anything about what you should and shouldn't be doing, but when an animal was taken into the slaughterhouse to be killed for the meat that you're eating, they experience a lot of fear and pain and negative emotions in that moment. And you might be thinking like, oh, well, animals don't have feelings, but I don't even know what to fucking tell you then. But either way, Every single thing holds vibration. And so when you're ingesting something that had a negative vibration or a painful vibration or, something on those low vibrational frequencies, you're putting that into your body, and then that can be causing you the same emotions, especially if you're a more empathic being. Then you can be creating a whole mess for yourself. When you're really starting to feel that anxiety, exercise is something that can really help you. So if you're really just like so stressed out, you can't do anything, you're just like, what do I even do? Go for a run. Do some yoga. I say running because it's like a really intense experience. Even if it's for a short time, it's a release in your body. Eckhart Tolle talks about this experience he had when he was out in a park and he was watching a pond and he seen these two ducks that kind of got into a fight, and they were both trying to get over after the same female duck. And when the fight broke away, they both went in different directions and flapped their wings really fast. And he realized that they were doing that to release negative emotions because it gets stored up in the body. So we need to do the same thing, whether that means like dancing or running or yoga, getting some form of exercise, something that you like, maybe going on a hike, even if it's just a walk, that'll really clear your head. The next thing is, if you're starting to feel really anxious and you don't know what to do, maybe taking a bath or a shower or just getting yourself comfy, maybe washing your face or whatever, kind of trying to just release anything. And when you're in the shower, just kind of like loving on your body and not like thinking in a negative way. And you can use, every single thing can have intention. So if you go into the shower with the intention of, I'm going to be cleansed from all of this anxiety and negative emotion, maybe then that will also help you. You don't need to overwhelm yourself. Take a step back from a situation if it's causing you stress. Make a list of all the things that you have to do. That really helps me kind of ground myself a little bit, to just list off all the things I need to do, or make a plan for what I can do and what kind of order that it's going to be done in. And then that can help you kind of see, okay, this is something that is achievable and can help relieve that stress and anxiety as well. Also, making sure that you're getting enough sleep at night, at least 6 hours, whether that means going to bed earlier or taking a nap in the middle of the day, etc. You need to really make sure that you're getting the sleep that you need. And a lot of that is just getting into bed at the right time. I know that sometimes after being at work all day, you don't really want to just end your day, but the more sleep that you get, focus more on waking up early, because then you can do more in the morning rather than trying to do it all at night, and then you wake up the next morning and you're exhausted, and then that can cause more stress and anxiety on the body because it's tired and it can't work as quickly as it needs to. If you're not sure what's causing you stress and anxiety, maybe try keeping a journal throughout the day, just kind of writing down your thoughts. Sometimes just writing down the thoughts can be a release enough to kind of get away from the anxiety, or you might be able to read back and find out the root cause of what is creating the anxiety. Maybe it's a specific friend in your life, maybe it's a career path, etc. And then making those changes that are necessary to kind of get you into the relaxed state that you need to be in. And one of my favorite things to use for any kind of negative emotion is essential oils. And I use doTERRA, and so I'll leave a link below if you wanted to order anything like that. But lavender is a great essential oil. You can rub it on your chest if you're feeling anxious through the day. If you want to get a good night's sleep, you can rub it on your feet. Even just rubbing some on your hands and getting a good smell of it, then that'll really help you release anxiety. And then, there's other different things that are uplifting in your positive emotions, like citruses, like lemon, grapefruit, sweet orange. All those can kind of uplift your mood. And if you have any questions about essential oils and getting them and getting 100% pure, please contact me. I'll put some of my info below. A lot of people like using singing bowls, and so I wanted to bless you with my singing bowl just to kind of share that with you. I'll end this video with some of my new crystal singing bowl to help relieve your anxiety if you're experiencing that now, and you can check back with this video at any time. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to subscribe.
you living? Everything's all good, tell me why.